Now, I got one question for you. How would you fix Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail's Black Mage? Simple question. How would you fix Dawntrail Black Mage? Hey, what's going on, guys? SnivyPootis here. Welcome back to the video. Now, I'm back again, Ignorant recommended out of nowhere, and you probably don't know who I am, but hi. I'm the guy who complains about Black Mage a lot. Make sure to follow me on Twitch. Description in the link in the description below. Oh, can't speak. Anyway, but we are here to discuss how we would fix Black Mage ourselves. Now, I already said at the beginning, but go down in the comments. Like, make sure you wait until like really halfway point until I get my sort of like way of fixing it out of the way before, because I want to hear everybody's opinions, just like uninspired by what I've said, because the best way to get the vast majority of opinions is just to, formulate your own type of thinking before you hear what I have to say. But yes, go down in the comments, maybe hit like and subscribe while you're at it. Just comment down below what you think you could do to Black Mage to make it better for Dawntrail, just like how to make it more fun, how to bring back some of its flexibility, just whatever stupid thing you can think of. Like, it could be giving it a raid buff, giving Sharpcast back, giving Ice Paradox back, whatever. Like, but that being said, I just wanted to go ahead and say what I think they could do to make Black Mage more fun overall. Now, I'm just gonna go right ahead and set it. You probably saw it in the intro, but I think that AoE Black Mage could be easily amended by just making it so that whenever you use High Fire 2 or whatever it's called, you use it and then you get your astral gauge filled up, like how you do with Fire 4 to get Flare Star, but instead you use Fire 2, but instead of using like, I guess, one to get each, like you could probably either have like Flare, the High Fires give 2 on your astral gauge, so you only have to do like 3 High Fires to get Flare Star, or just make it, just like really just make Fire AoE just like single target AoE. Well, that's single target AoE. That does make sense. I want to make single target rotation basically the same as AoE. So you use High Fires, you get your actual gauge filled up, and then you use Flare to end off your AoE, and then you use Flare Star after. So like, basically just same as single target, but it gives a usage for High Fire, because right now, as we all know, High Fire has literally no use in AoE rotation for Black Mage outside of swapping to Fire to actually get your 2 flares out and then your Flare Star. And I think that is incredibly boring. I know that AoE Black Mage wasn't really too in-depth before that, but whenever one of their core abilities is not able to be used because it's just a DPS loss over just using Flare over and over again, and even then, if you don't have triple cast for Flare, then you're just going to be sitting there for like 3.54 seconds max, just sitting there casting flares and hoping that you can get the flare off before the mob dies, and that's not always going to happen, because as we all know, casters in dungeons can be a mixed bag with whether or not you get to have fun or not. But that being said, yeah, I do think that Black Mage AoE should just be the same as single target, but with High Fire being replaced for Fire 4 and Despair being replaced with Flare, so that way you actually get a use out of using High Fire other than just swapping. And maybe reduce the cast time on Flare a little bit as well. Like maybe make it like a couple seconds, like milliseconds, higher than Despair, but not too higher. Just basically just keep it around the same, so that way you don't really need to rely on triple cast in order to like get your flares out as fast as possible. Because if you're running min spell speed like most people do, then you're most likely going to be sitting there for however long without even. It's also if you don't have your ley lines up, you're going to be sitting there for however long, hoping to get your flare cast out before all the mobs died. Whenever your Pictomancer clears everything in like 2.5 seconds with just half their bursts being done. So yeah, it's not a great feeling. It really just needs some sort of love. I know that they're gonna buff Black Mage damage-wise eventually, but I just hope that they do something to make AoE more fun and more dynamic, rather than just like using Foul whenever you need to not overcap, and using flares as many flares as you can to get many flare stars out as you can. And now my second thing is that they should change the animation for Flare Star. Now, I know that Flare Star is like you know, it's supposed to be this big boom fire explosion. Oh my god, it's so cool. But like, it doesn't really feel as impactful as Fire 4, because like you sit there, you cast it, and you send it out, and then you see the big fire explosion, but it doesn't really feel the same as Fire 4, in my opinion. Like, when it comes to Fire 4, you get the cast animation. You know, it's a combination of the cast animation, the actual animation of like the spell, and just like the sound effect, and then the slight screen shake when you hit that double crit, direct hit, whatever. That's like what makes me like love Fire 4 so much with Black Mage, because it just feels so impactful when you hit that nasty high damage Fire 4. But you know, that's not always going to be the case with Flare Star. There are going to be cases where you send out Flare Star, and then you just send it, and then it hits, but you don't hit like a crit direct hit or anything. It just feels like a wet noodle. Granted, yeah, it can do some insane damage, like Xenoglossy levels of damage if you crit direct hit, but like otherwise, it just feels like it doesn't really impact that much, and it feels really, really boring to cast sometimes, especially whenever like you have all your buffs up and you manage your Flare Star in all your buff window and your pod and everything, then it just hits for like 55k. It doesn't really feel great. I know that, you know, you can't always adjust potencies of things, because like adjusting potencies can be a huge step up for damage wise, especially for Black Mage, because most of the damage scaling comes from being in Fireface in the first place. But I just feel like, personally, I think that we could at least change the animation of it to make it look more cool looking, because like even if it doesn't hit super hard, like if you don't get that good crit or a good crit direct hit, then at least you can, you know, look cooler while doing it. So you know, I would prefer maybe something like End of Days from the Ashian that they used. I think that would be really cool, something like that, because I saw something in the comments, and by the way, I do read all of your comments, and yes, all 82 of the comments that you've left in my last video, I did read. So that was a lot to sift through, including the comments. A comment from my older Black Mage video where somebody said that I was recording 720p. I'm not, by the way. But anyway. But seriously, I think that we should change the animation to something more cool looking for Flare Star, because even if it doesn't hit hard, it should still look better. And anyway, that being said, another thing, I think that Scathe should be a OGCD, not a GCD thing, because I know that the purpose of Scathe was to be like a sort of like the equivalent of a ranged attack for like a melee, but you never really use Scathe at all. And honestly, if you need to use Scathe at any point, it's probably going to be in like sub 60 level content. Otherwise, you should not be using Scathe at all, because when it comes to Scathe, it's like a big drop off for damage if you keep using Scathe. Like you're much better off using Xenoglossy stacks and using your triple cast and swift cast wisely, rather than relying on something like Scathe in order to get your damage out when you're moving around, because it just doesn't make any sense. And honestly, I think that using Thunderhead by swapping like with Transpose every now and then would be a lot more optimal than actually using Scathe anyway, even if it's like you're throwing away procs repeatedly at the time. But like, that being said, yeah, I think Scathe should be like a high-hitting OGCD, kind of like Sidewinder for Bard, but like for Black Mage, and maybe like, I don't know, just like a 60-second cooldown, for like 600 potency or something like that, just to get something Black Mage, something for them to weave, as to our damage-wise, because like not only does it give us a little bit of things to weave and keep track of other than just our fire phase, it also gives us more damage overall, because it makes a utterly useless button actually feel useful. Now, I could be wrong. Obviously, I'm not always right about these things. If Scathe is like, so it has some niche use and non-standard before, or it has some standard use now, then you know, I'll eat my own words on that one. But otherwise, I think that Scathe overall is just kind of like a shitty, useless button, and I honestly don't know why anyone would be using it at anything higher than 60, because as of right now, Scathe is just one of those buttons where it's like, you use it, and then you're gonna lose out on damage, period. Because even if you get the sharp cast effect on it, where it does double damage, it's still not going to be enough to warrant using Scathe. So that's basically what I think that Black Mage should be chained with, because when it comes to everything else, it feels great. Ice phase is fine now because Umbral Soul got tuned down to 35, so now you can actually keep up your ice phase and any content that isn't super low level content. So that was my only real gripe with it, was that if you you know, didn't have Umbral Soul at that level that you're at, then you're just gonna be sitting there just suffering because you have nothing to do, because your ice phase is just gonna fall off. Another thing, actually, I think that could be alleviated before I end off my little rant, is that I think that they should take a way to make it so that when you are in your ice or fire phase, that you can have a way to pause pause it temporarily, kind of like a Natman for Monk, but like something different. Because there are some times where like you can be playing perfectly and your ice or fire phase is just gonna fall off because of an in-fight cutscene, and nobody likes that. Like Barbarisia is a really good example of that. Like even if you are pixel perfect with your positioning and you get your thing refreshed at the right time, there's a high chance you're not going to be able to refresh your ice or fire, and you have to start from fresh as soon as the boss comes targetable again. And nobody likes that. At least I don't think anyone likes that, because sitting there for like however long, because the in-fight cutscene is longer than 15 seconds, is not fun. So I think we should have some sort of way to like keep our ice or fire phase, maybe like again a Natman or something like that for Black Mage. Maybe not like something like permanent, but it's something that you can use so that when you know, okay, I'm going to be an in-fight cutscene here in a second, so I'm gonna make sure to use X ability so that way I don't lose out on my damage whenever the boss comes targetable again. Because, or like, you know, at least when you can act again and use Umbral Soul to keep up your ice phase during the transition. So like, I just think that there could be easily some sort of way to like make it so that you don't have to worry about losing your ice or fire phase during an in-fight cutscene. But that's just my opinion on that one. I could definitely be wrong, but you know, that's just how I think. Anyway, that's all I really had to say for this video for me. I know it's a little bit more of a shorter one compared to my other ones, but that's just how I am with these. I'm just trying to get more community reaction rather than just my own thoughts out. Because I already talked extensively about Black Mage, and I will continue to do so, because I love this job very much, and I will always stick by it no matter what types of bullshittery it goes through. But I really would like to hear you guys' thoughts on this type of stuff. Like, what do you think could be fixed about Black Mage? Do you agree with what I said? Do you think that Black Mage could be better? Do you think it's fine as it is? Let me know in the comments below. And also, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll be seeing you all next time for the next video. Peace out.